Welcome back everyone to PC Mazda Reviews. Today we are going to be doing another subscriber requested video. Thank you, Jonathan Reyes. His question was a size comparison between the 2019 CX-5 and the Mazda 6. So if you guys want your questions answered, please leave a comment in the comment section down below or any other video that comes out this week, and I'll shoot a video next week answering one of those questions. Anything that I can make a video about, put it down below. I'll be more than happy to cover it for you. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and get around these vehicles, take a look at the inside size-wise, and then the exterior size comparison between the two of them, and then see which one Mr. Reyes likes more. Thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing to the video. I really appreciate it, and it really helps out with the channel. Let's go ahead and get around the vehicles and take a look. So we'll start off on the front of the vehicles. Right away you can see that height difference and kind of the front difference between the two vehicles. You've got that grille that's a little bit more open on the front of the CX-5 versus the Mazda 6. Now their noses are going to be pretty much side by side, right in line with each other right here. So height wise you can see that the CX-5 is a good bit higher than the Mazda 6. But the more interesting thing here is where the CX-5 just kind of slopes down and falls right off, the Mazda 6 kind of tapers out and gives you a little bit more trunk space. So where you lose that height in the back of the Mazda 6 versus the CX-5, you may make up for it depending on what you're kind of stowing, just on that extra depth you're getting in the Mazda 6 versus the CX-5. So back-wise, you'll see though that they are going to be the same width. Now, the CX-5 and the Mazda 6 do share the same frame. They are on the same platform. They also share pretty much the same powertrain, where your base models for both of them are going to come with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, and then your top trim levels, starting in the Grand Touring Reserve for the CX-5 and the Grand Touring for the Mazda 6, will have the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder with the turbo on it. Now, a little interesting tidbit is back when the 2018 Mazda 6 got its body style change and the 2.5 turbo introduced to it, Mazda said that the frame, there was no room to put the all-wheel drive system in on the Mazda 6 with the turbo. But just 1 year later, they came out with the CX-5 with that turbo engine in it and all-wheel drive standard. So fingers crossed, eventually we'll see that turbo all-wheel drive Mazda 6. So I just want to see, last thing on the exterior real quick, that ride height between the two of them. Not a crazy huge difference between the two. Maybe about 4 or 5 inches. So by that, with the additional height on the CX-5, that's going to be your difference between a more natural seating position and the traditional sedan seating position that you're used to. So let's go ahead and hop on in and take a look at the size of the front seats, back seats of the CX-5 first, and then we'll do the Mazda 6 last. So with the CX-5 driver's seat, this is with the seat all the way back. So I'm about 5'10". This is pretty darn comfortable here for me. I could slide this up and still feel comfortable in it. And this can keep going forward to even a much shorter individual can get in here. So I can put it to where it's incredibly uncomfortable. My knees are way into the dash on it. But you've got a whole breadth of space if you need to move this up, down. There's like 20 million different ways that you can set this seat, make it comfortable for a driver. Of course, you got your telescoping steering wheel, in and out, down, whichever one works for you. So spacing wise though, having the seat all the way back, someone about 5'10", you're going to be reaching a little bit for the pedals on here. Not too bad, but it's good. It means you're going to be getting someone that's 6'5", 6'6" in here, and they're still going to be comfortable. So 2019, this is the third year that they're running this body style interior on the vehicle. So they haven't changed up really anything on it. just adding some additional buttons here for parking sensors and around view cameras. This is the signature edition here. They still do have the small armrest that's going to be in the back here. It's going to be super similar to the Mazda 6, of course. The same between the two of these. They're on the same platform. Very similar theming between the two of them. So you're going to notice a lot of similarities. But overall, it's a comfortable vehicle to sit in. You've got tons of room to move forward, backward in it. So let's go ahead and hop into the back seat. We're going to leave the driver's seat all the way back and see how comfortable I would be in the back seat. Now this is with the driver's seat all the way back, so no problem with the feet getting in. Now my knees are kind of in the back seat. It's not terrible. Once again, I'm about 5'10", so this isn't bad by any means. It's still considered a compact SUV. So the good thing about this means though, if you've got someone over 6 foot in this driver's seat, someone of average height is going to be okay for shorter distance drives in the back seat. Now you could definitely move this forward and it'd be much more comfortable for your back passenger, which I'll show you in a second. But once again, it's comfortable for back here. One of the good things about this, even though it's still considered compact, your distance between you and the other passenger on the other side is pretty substantial. If I pull down the center armrest, by no means am I fighting with this other passenger over here. Now I would be a little hesitant about putting another full-grown adult back here in the center seat, just for the matter of the fact that you're going to be a little squished back here. And that's just something you're going to see in these compact SUVs. You're going to have to go into the mid-size or your full-size SUV if you want to use the full bench seat in the middle or middle row, depending on if it's a third row seat or SUV. But to use that full bench seat for 3 full-grown adults, you're going to need that larger SUV. So let me slide this driver's seat up to where it'd be still comfortable for a 5'10" driver to be in it, to see what an average sized adult in the back seat, how comfortable they would be. Now this has moved up to the point where I would be comfortable driving 6 hours in this car in that driver's seat. And my back passenger now has tons of legroom. There's a couple inches between me and the front seat. The seat could go closer, and I would probably still be comfortable as the driver. But back here, you've got tons of space now, and you're not, once again, you're not worrying about the passenger. Now you're not worrying about your driver on it. I would sit back here for 6 hours and be comfortable, no problem. So that's one of the benefits of going from this vehicle here. In our other videos, we've taken a look at the Mazda 3 and the CX-3, sizing wise compared to like the CX-5 and the Mazda 3. And those smaller vehicles just lack this kind of space here. So that's a good incentive to go up to these Mazda 6s or the CX-5s for size wise, if it's normal for you to be carrying a ton of passengers. So let's go ahead and hop into the Mazda 6, see the sizing on that, and see how comparable it is to the CX-5. One of the big differences that we should pay attention to between the Mazda 6 and the CX-5 is going to be that headroom. I've got tons of it here. I've got no need to worry about it at any point, whether I'm in the driver's seat or the back passenger seat. So I can sit up here and I've got no problems. I'm not hitting my head anywhere near, or getting my head anywhere near the top. So let's hop into the Mazda 6. Now into the Mazda 6, this is the driver's seat all the way back in the Mazda 6. Now, of course, you're not in the traditional seated position like you are in an SUV. You're in a little bit more of a lounge like you would expect from a sedan on there. So no big deals there. You've got the telescoping steering wheel again, just like you do in the CX-5. So you've got tons of play to make it comfortable in here. And once again, the seat will go all the way up. There's a little more room to move up in this one here versus the CX-5, but once again, it'll put my knees right in the dash. So my only gripe, and as anyone that's watched my other videos or any of my subscribers know, I personally own one of these Mazda 6s. This center armrest here is really small. For long distance drives, it's kind of not comfortable, to be entirely honest with you. And that's my only gripe on the interior of the Mazda 6, which is a real shame. But I hope in the next year or so it adopts the Mazda 3's center armrest. Because holy crap, is that thing amazing compared to what the other models have right now. But once again, my only gripe on the Mazda 6 interior. Otherwise, I think it looks really clean in here. All the lines, straight lines all the way across on it. So cosmetically, it looks super clean and premium. It looks really good. But you do have the extra trimming all the way down on the center side here, so I guess you could kind of use this as an armrest here. But it's so skinny, it's no more than that on there. It's so skinny, it's a little difficult to use comfortably for an extended period. But once again, adjustments. You've got tons of room in here as the driver. I've gone on plenty of road trips with mine, and I've loved it to death. So I can't advocate enough for this car here. So let's hop in the back seat. I'm going to take a look at the passenger distance versus the CX-5 and the spacing that it had in there. Once again, as we talked about the headroom, I lose a lot of headroom in this one versus the other one, and this is with the power sunroof on here, or I'm sorry, the power moonroof. So I've got no more than just one fist between my head and the top of this car. And well, the seat is up a little bit, actually a lot of it. So, but it's not a substantial amount difference between the two of them. So we're gonna slide the seat all the way back, and we'll take a look at the back seat. So this is with the driver's seat moved all the way back. Feet can go in just fine, not like the Mazda, the CX-3, but crazy enough in this one, I feel like I've got a little more space in between the backs of the seat and the CX-5. It could definitely just be how the seats are adjusted, but could also be just a difference in spacing on there. So technically my knees are not touching. I mean, they're within a finger's width of touching the back of the seat, but the CX-5, my knees were already in the back at this point. So really, I'm comfortable. I could sit like this for an extended period of time and not be bothered. If I do spread my legs a little bit on here, my knees will be in the bolsters on the sides. So, but that's not a huge deal. If this driver slides up just a little bit, I'm comfortable the whole way for any kind of road trip. So for your back passengers, it might almost be a little more comfortable for them to be sitting in the Mazda 6 versus the CX-5. But something else that's going to play into it is this height. If I was just maybe 3 more inches, 4 more inches, my head's touching the ceiling. So I don't have the ability to raise and lower this one like I do the driver's seat. So if you had someone sitting back here that was maybe 6'2", 6'3", their head's touching the ceiling. There's no two ways about it. So that's something you also have to take in consideration. All that headspace that you gain in the CX-5, when it comes down to it, it's how it suits your lifestyle versus what's comfortable to you guys. So, Mr. Rays, if you want to leave down in the comments section below which one of them you're liking the most out of this. Hopefully we helped you out making your decision and your research on the vehicles. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to give a shout. Leave it in the comment section down below. If it's not something I can potentially make a video out of, I will answer any darn question that you leave down there. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a good rest of your day.